Here we are with the final episode of that beautifully made kilt. It's all done and ready to go. As soon as I've done this, I will pack it up for shipping, send it off to the chap. In addition to the information in the video, what to expect when you receive the kilt in the mail, I wanted to point out a couple of things. I'm going to leave the basting in the pleats for travel as much as anything, so you see how it's done. And if in future you decide that your kilt needs pressing, it shouldn't need pressing, but if you do, you'll know how to baste it up to press it yourself. The bastings have, you can see there's a bit of a dimple where the bastings have been in. You take the bastings out and that should fall out of the cloth relatively fast. It'll heal itself, so to speak. It'll flatten out. Now, on the front apron here, we have what appears to be a moth nip, a very tiny one. I will overcast that. I just spotted it, so I'll overcast that with some fine silk thread just to stabilize it, but don't go picking at it. Okay. On the inside, the buttonhole, you can see that patch that I did, that reinforcement that I did, looks pretty good. Again, we're hoping that extra bit of strength will resist the effect of erosion, which does happen over time. The lining is, as I've said elsewhere, cotton flannelette. I prefer it because it's cooler than the silky linings, and also the texture helps you keep your shirt tucked in better. Now, over on the inside apron, I've sewn on the weaver's information, Peter McDonald, the label of the person who originally made the kilt. Now, I understand that this kilt has passed through a couple of other tailors' hands, so I can't say exactly who was using that heavy thread, but this person's workmanship was well enough that I assume that she wasn't. And when I'd earlier said that I believed that the pleats were machine sewn, they weren't. When I looked at it very closely, her sewing was so very, very fine that from any distance it looked like machine stitching because it was so very regular and so very tiny. Below that is the dry cleaning only label, which had been attached originally, but I don't want you to dry clean it, so ignore that advice. I'm not putting it back on. And the bottom, my own label. So there we go. I will attend to that moth nip as soon as I find my fine silk thread, and then pack it up and have it on its way to you. Cheers. Oh yeah, by the way, here's wishing you many happy years and enjoyment of what, fingers crossed, is now your properly fitted kilt.